Um, I guess you're probably just listening for the sound. It really shouldn't be that different because I don't really mess with the levels they just save themselves at the end of every stream. So I don't mess with the settings. There's only so many times I can draw this character before I don't know what the fuck to do. For the stream notices. I think they say thank you, don't they? Yeah. What's the oh my god about? I gotta draw an ass. Never a pleasant thing. I wouldn't say never, but I don't like it most of the time. Yeah, it's like a little mystery you unravel as time goes on. She's always climbing into something. You just gotta figure out what. I wouldn't recommend doing this in real life. At least not the indoor trash cans. Like, there are better McDonald's trash cans to climb into than the one directly inside the building. I haven't heard this song in fucking forever. Oh god, this is the remix. I've been deceived. That is something she would say. I think she lies a lot. Like, she will bluff a lot. Does it got any texture on it? I guess it doesn't really fucking matter. It's just a stream notice. I usually got, I guess, a fake wood texture. Since most of her is invisible, I kind of wanted the background to at least be a little something. I don't know if I'll even post this one in the chat, just because someone else can fucking do it if they really feel like it's necessary. I don't like that, but I put a lot of effort into it, so now I have to leave the texture in. No, I don't. No, I don't. I can just undo as much as I can. There you go. I can kind of put some other detail into it. Okay, that's decent enough. Spent a good fucking 10 minutes on it. Patreon recently added the ability to make scheduled posts, which is it's real nice. 'Cause I have been wanting that for a while, so that I don't have to stay up until midnight every day that I need to update. They did fuck up the coding on their site a lot doing that, though. Like, you can't edit posts now. Whenever you select which tiers will get to see what you're about to post, you need to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page because the drop down menu does not go up so that you can see all the options if you don't have enough room on the screen. It'll just like overflow and not show anything. Yeah, they're incompetent. So I'm pretty sure that the first document that I had for Duck and Dive is at its maximum size. I could add 1900 pixels. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Which might be enough for another page. We'll see. So, I'm hoping to get this done sooner than later. Hoping this will be like a band-aid kind of situation. Just rip it off as fast as possible. I am just going to be sketching the next page, and that's it. If it hits like 11, I will stop either way, because I do have to proofread the next dropout page and fucking schedule it and everything. I do have other shit to do. Hello. There is a side character who I have not at all designed yet. They aren't recurring though, so what I'm going to do is just hop over to the random furry generator and let it spit something at me. And we got a female anthropomorphic gray-furred bear who's loss of meaning in her life. Yeah, that sounds about right. We're gonna go with a bear then. This might be a little too tall for what I want to go for. Oh. I feel like this, I'm gonna cap this at four rows of panels. I'm gonna try to fit it into that, because I do kind of have beats that I expect for pages now, like how much happens in a page. So this is kind of a stream, multiple little streams and not just one big stream. Of water, I mean, not the art stream itself. What is the system? Probably draw all of her before. I guess kind of like, I'm not very good at estimating how long something is going to be in general, but you kind of get a feel for how long it's going to take something to, like an individual action, how many panels that's going to take to be portrayed. Like, now that I'm doing this comic, I can tell it's going to take a while. A lot more while than I was originally intending, but I can still tell that, like, that, and I can tell that because now that I'm doing the individual parts, it kind of makes more sense. So if you're a comic maker, you should probably thumbnail your shit. Or at least script out how many, like, what's gonna be happening in the panels, because you'll end up with a lot more than you bargained for if you do not, and I am finding that out over and over again. Because something you could describe in 5 words can take like 3 panels, which is, like 6 hours of work. And yeah, it can get very disconcerting. It's not very predictable if you don't do like a script or something. A strong script and not just writing down what happens. Don't really like how that perspective is looking. Not the biggest fan. Gotta make sure to not place her ears too high up on her head. They're kind of on the sides more than on the top. I think that's part of the reason that she looks more wolfish sometimes, is because I keep putting them a little too high up. When I say wolfish, I mean cartoon wolf, because obviously cartoon wolves look nothing like what they look like in real life. Yet they have been coded as this is what a wolf looks like because of their popularity. Wet hair, not really something I am super familiar with drawing. Alright, that's fine. I don't really keep attendance for these things. It's just kinda, come if you want. The option is available. But yeah, I don't really feel like doing more than just a sketch because Dropout will be updating in about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So it's really, I do try to avoid having both of them update at once. Like on the same day. Those will just be wet spots on the shirt in the final version, but I'd like to remind myself in the sketch that they're going to be there. That's too thick. That's fair. Aqua, I'm glad you finally caught one of these streams. It seems like you are not missing them on purpose, which I imagine is frustrating. Now this is going to be weird to draw because it needs to be like in the middle of shaking off water, which I think would require a cocked head of some sort. Obviously I'm going to look up a reference of at least a dog shaking off water. God. Current mood. So, according to motion, which would be going, yeah, this way, air would be kind of pushing down this side of the hair and pulling up this side. We'll see if that'll work. There's going to be water droplets everywhere. I probably won't put them all in the sketch, but there should be a few in the sketch. Don't want to make her hair look too full here. This ear I think will be yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of how this is turning out. Maybe some motion lines would help. I'll leave the motion lines till last so that if they don't work out, I'll still have the picture. For the bear, assuming I get that far, I think I'll go for a spectacled. This panel can kind of be moved over a little bit. If I could add an after image, I think that would help, but it would make this sketch look really confusing. I'm doing it on a different layer to kind of gauge if having it faded out would help at all. Doesn't really look like it, huh? I there's a part of me that wants to put like a some sort of onomatopoeia for the shaking, but I'm an adult. I have to ignore those urges. I'm gonna leave the after image kind of there until I finish the entire thing, and then I can delete it if it's still not helping. Yeah, that's patron only content right there. I know when I had shorter hair, I tended to just shake it out too. So I can imagine furries doing this. You never just had the impulse to just shake it. It's pretty effective. Her head is just so large. It's all that fluff. Just add a lot of little droplets. And this can probably... It's okay. The after image I feel is just messing it up. Get it the fuck out of there. And maybe try some motion lines. Save beforehand so that if I do too many and can't undo all of them, I can just reopen the document. I want to make this thick enough that it is obvious that it's an ear. I don't know how I'm feeling about these. Kind of mixed feelings, mixed emotions. I don't know. I'm feeling good about them, I guess. I might save both of the sketches just to have options. Not really going as fast as I was hoping. Let's just make the drops on her shirt a little consistent. I'll leave the motion lines out of the reflection so that it doesn't get too messy. Alright, that's 1 of 4. Trying to slowly figure out how I want to set up the perspective in these two panels right here. Move her over a little bit. Probably move her up a little bit too. I want to show that the floor is sort of fucking soaked. Yeah, that's actually the ending of this comic. Which ear was... I guess it doesn't matter. She's probably... She's good. I need to make these panels a little taller. I do not want to make her arms too thick, since they are kind of supposed to be spindly to a degree. At least her wrists. are still the pants right there, so just draw them in so I don't forget them. They look kind of like a cinnamon roll in the sketch. Or I don't know what they're actually fucking called. I think cinnamon rolls are different from that. I don't really eat a whole lot of pastries. I think I saw Monsters University in theaters. I'm not positive. I know I saw the sequel. Jay, did we watch that together or did I see that in a fucking theater? Or did we watch that together in a theater? Great. It wasn't too fantastic. It wasn't bad, but now that it's been years, it was not memorable. She should be down lower, like a lot lower. I don't know what I'm doing. And her legs should be a little thinner now because she has tighter pants on. I really dislike the trying to draw the humanish form from a profile view. It looks so strange. Probably move this over a little bit. It's kind of not perfectly profile here, but it is pretty from the side, so. Viscera is strangely one of those builds where she has animal feet like the long leg, the short thigh, or not the long leg, the long feet and the short thigh, but she does not stand on her toes. I think that's most common in like the typical furry toon style of doing anatomy, where it's kind of like they consider it half anthropomorphic, half kind of quadrupedal. I think the reason I did that to her is because I felt like I didn't really have any characters like that, and I wanted at least one, but it does look very unnatural. Most of the puddle should be right here, because that's where she was kind of dripping. Oh, that's weird. I'm gonna have to look into it though, because if it really exists, I need references. I'm assuming maybe badgers walk like that, but their feet aren't particularly long. This could easily be smoke. Like, I could just color this in gray and people would be like, yeah, there's smoke on the floor. A lot of things can look similar before you render them. And this will obviously need to be moved down a little so that they're even. It's an Walmart, just FYI. We're not looking for a lawsuit here. I'm not saying anything about Walmart. There are Walmart snipers positioned to take me out in case I don't correct that. Can I draw a door kind of half closing? I don't know if my sister is audible from out there. She's playing Overwatch right now. Fur's gotta look a little fluffed up. I don't think she would look as fluffy as if you say blow-dried hair. But she doesn't look as settled as, like, when she is not just shaken off. Oh yeah, bunnies do that, don't they? The ears are humongo large. I don't think Pika ears are even... I guess they're pretty big, yeah. It's not as big as a Pikachu. Like, this is what it would look like if she had not just shaken off. we need a list of what is the largest and what is the smallest in terms of words. You gotta look proud of yourself when you come out of the bathroom. If you did anything in there. Even just normal things you do in the bathroom, you gotta come out proud so no one can judge you. On a scale of ginormous, gargantuan to Wumbo, how large? We all know Wumbo is the largest you can get. Oh my god. On a scale of Sugar's pupils to Sugar's eyes. That's a scientific scale right there. Tiny, tiny figures. Might do something in the background right here. The good thing about these panels is that most of them are... I'm gonna go straight to the coloring phase. Skip the lining. I say that though, and I always start fucking them up immediately. Alright, I gotta look at a spectacled bear real quick. Just... I really don't have enough characters with glasses. Even though I wear glasses, you think it would be normal for everyone to wear glasses. Just really conflicts visually with a lot of designs. honestly, don't. I don't think I've ever seen a female greeter at all Allmart, real life Allmart. What do their ears look like? Kind of, yeah, pretty round, like a bear. So last dude, I don't think he had full hair, but if I'm making this one a lady, I kind of lean towards not giving her full hair also. I really will give her glasses. There is in the I'm still thinking about if I want to keep that scene in just because this is already getting ridiculously long, but uh, there is someone who could potentially say, I don't get paid enough to deal with this, and just not engage with her at all when she is stealing something. Like, just point blank, point blank watching her do it, and then just keep walking saying, I don't get paid enough. Just do not get paid enough. No one at Allmart gets paid enough. I would say no one at any retail job gets paid enough. I'm gonna give her some thick neck fur. I don't want to make her too much like what I kind of want to do for the polar bear, so. And they got just stump tails, right? When you're a furry and the tail usually comes out of the like back of your shirt and above your pants, if you got a stub tail, would you just tuck it into your pants at that point because it's so small? Well, I gotta look the uniform up. They just wear a vest and like a collared shirt, right? I know some people complain that you can't have furries with head hair and without head hair in one world because they look like they're different species or whatever. No pun intended. But I kind of like the variety. I don't really feel like limiting myself in that aspect. I'm gonna give her some big old. Oh, she can't be wearing a t-shirt. She's gotta be wearing the full polo thing. She'll get a little more detailed in the next panel because she will be um, bigger, closer. For me, it's really just down to genetics for them. Like, you either have it or you don't. No one really expects it. I do need to give a reptile character hair at some point as praxis. I'm gonna put a "how can I help you" on the back of her shirt. She also does not like working here, which will become obvious in the next few panels. I feel like she probably is not the greeter usually, but I do know that sometimes employees are just sent off to greet people if there's like no other shit to do, which would be the case since it is like 2 in the morning, and you know, they could be manning registers or whatever, but they fucking never do. It's like 2 registers open at most. That is a fancy idea. I haven't really looked that much into proto feathers. She should be kind of a little hunched over, because that's how she usually walks, is fairly bad posture. I think the general thing that I go for with them is that they're kind of, since they're all technically still genetically pretty human, uh, I wouldn't say none of them, but most of them are mammals, so How long have I been working on this? I feel like this will need to be wider already. I can feel it in my bones. That is not enough room. Since this will be another 3-panel row, and then the last row will be 2 panels. Her eyebrows will be will give her smile away, I think. I do not want her to have the same haircut as Badger Boy. Let's look at some bear noses real quick. They're kind of weird looking. I would... It's really more in the slope of the muzzle, I think, what makes a bear look like a bear than their nose specifically. I don't usually draw the nostrils, so I'll do that for her. And the fur on her face will be kind of pushed back from the glasses. But the glasses might need to be bigger. This might be up a little too high. Just fix that. She's gonna go home and smoke weed. Bear ears. Someone asked me once why, or how they, first of all, how they keep the glasses on their face. I feel like it would be, as someone whose glasses have been shit tier and like not had arms at some point, you can wear glasses if you very carefully balance them on your nose. But moreover, I feel like people, they've got like noses that slope down, you know, whereas when you got a muzzle, there's kind of, that is way not symmetrical. When you got a muzzle, you kind of got like a platform to balance it on where it can just kind of cling. So it just kind of grips the bridge of their muzzle fairly decently. A lot of the technology and kind of things like the headphones and glasses were originally, because they were all people, at some point these things were already invented. Um, Kind of before that whole turn of events. And now things are usually designed for human anatomy and people work with it. I mean, there's probably shit designed for specific ears and things like that, but they're probably more expensive. And so, um, you will see like a lot of people using just headphones meant for people ears. It's also kind of funny just to have like animal people trying to uh, work with things clearly not meant for them. Like, my original reasoning for why wouldn't there be just a ton of shit to accommodate a variety of species is, well, that's not profitable, you know? So I couldn't see that realistically existing outside of specialty items, which are going to cost more. Dialogue layer. Yeah, it's just not common. I feel like Frankie would probably have a custom uh, gamer headset that is specifically made for animal ears. Where am I gonna put this fucking speech bubble? This is... oh, how much room do I have on the canvas? Plenty of room, thankfully. I will be needing to make more than one document. For Family Cries, I only needed uh, one thing. For Over Before You Know It, I needed one, and then like just a tiny 200 extra pixels on a separate document. After that, it's just kind of going downhill progressively, where the comics take up more and more space. There is so much to explore in the idea of a world where there's like really extreme size differences of furries. I'm not the person to explore it though. Too much body in that hair. It's fluffy, but it's thin. Holy shit. I don't think she'd be microscopic, but she'd be like the size of, oh god, like pencil lead, like from a mechanical pencil. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I don't like that. Oof. I want her eyes to be visible. Force in this perspective. Absolutely just... fuck. The musings of an artist just fuck over and over again. And fuck. Frustration and confusion are the only two emotions you should ever feel. I might make the lines on her a little thicker to kind of push a sense of distance. What do you do if they don't have hands? Like what, a Goldeen, for example? No psychic powers, just like... Did they ever show meat in Zootopia, like any sort of meat dish? Want her nose to be sloping down a little bit. It's not all the way up there, it's kind of on the middle-ish part of their upper jaw. I probably shouldn't draw the lower jaw until I finish the rest. There's crocodiles and there's a dragon. Bear teeth. What the fuck do they look like? Yeah, kind of a gap in between the front and the molars. Doesn't look like a bear, I'll give her that. What the fuck is this song? Tesla, please never show up on my station again. Prescription meat. An aesthetic, if there ever was one. Yeah, it doesn't seem like fish ever evolved into the furry society. There will be a fish in Dropout, though. To make those ears a little smaller. Bears don't have that big of ears. But fresh meat is also relevant to like other phrases. This isn't drawn right, I can tell already. Just gonna erase that for now. I feel like she should have buttons on her fucking thing. And also probably boobus. vague boobus. That's the clinical term. Nope, 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 nope. Here we go. Uh, not liking that nose. Draw 1,000 different smiles and see which one works. Her head needs to be moved down a little bit. And this will need to be redrawn. Might need to mess with this speech bubble a little bit. I think it would be very inaccurate to say she only checked her phone when she has an excuse from a customer. She's on the clock. She's probably said fuck enough times and gotten written up for it to know better. To have that like instinctual hesitation whenever she's about to say it. Come on, H, work with me here. Not the right layer at all. Bear paw. I think they got really big claws. I am pretty sure they got some big old... But do I want to give her big old claws? Of course I do. She's just gotta be gentle. I don't really like that fluff, what that fluff is doing. She's pretty woolly. Alright, just 2 more panels, and then I can go the fuck about my day. I don't have a boss to answer to, so I can say fuck as much as I want, thankfully. Unless I fire myself. All my patrons collectively stop pledging as soon as I say fuck. I'm pretty sure Jason did the same thing in Over Before You Know It. I don't remember what he said instead of fuck, though. I know there's another script I have laying around about Sugar and Angel, where Sugar's about to say fuck, and she's in front of one of the kids in her family, so she says fudge instead, and the kid is immediately like, "You mean fuck?" And Sugar's like, "Where did you learn that word?" Because she's not aware that most kids like know swears by a very young age. Like, you tell a kid they're not supposed to know what a word is, and they will go out and find what the word is. It's like um, the serpent of temptation. Sugar probably did not know the word. She's very much a rule follower. Oh, he might have. Yeah, that makes sense. That I knew what swears were from my mother. Unfortunately, she's like, I can say them, but you can't because you will get addicted to them. Oh gosh. Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, she's walking away. Yeah, she's out of here. She does not want to deal with that at all. I'm off the clock. Someone else can deal with it. I think a good chunk of the comic is Viscera just trying to figure out what time it is. She obviously doesn't own a phone or a watch that actually works. I'm sure she owns like 10 broken watches. And she has progressively had to find out that none of them, like, when they've stopped working. But it's something you tend to take for granted until you don't have a way to figure out the time without asking. She doesn't even wait to get home. She just lights up in the fucking car. Whenever I've gone to the digital clock section, they're usually reset. Yeah, like none of them are actually set to the time. It's got some big old bear teeth. I think at this point it's about 3 a.m. in the comic. So she is waiting until about 5 p.m. But she probably wants to be somewhere by 6 a.m. And when the ending of the comic will make it obvious why she's concerned about the time specifically. It's related to what she found in the bag in the first page. Oh god, what is that? Yik Yak, I think it is. That app where you can just post anonymously. There's so much fluff going on in this fucking panel. Let's see if we can maybe add a little bit of a background here. And that's all going to be covered up by speech bubbles, so. I like Bear Allmart employee. I just think she needs to be a little less rude to homeless people. It's got those big old bear paws. It's probably going to be covered up by a speech bubble anyway. I'm going to draw it nonetheless. Oh god, no, these hands aren't happening. She really, yeah, I mean, I at least want to draw one full body picture of her. Which is not going to happen in these panels. You don't really get a whole lot of room to do that. We're gonna put the background in here. So really, I don't like that I am able to draw this kind of setting just because I've been to it so often, like from memory. Actually, I feel like the wall should be over a little bit, which just leaves more room for this bullshit. That is way not parallel. Yeah, she's gonna get a whole character arc. I really have not done a whole lot of stories where it's like about a character improving as a person. Stories are always such a pain in the ass to draw because visually they are so cramped. They have shit everywhere. But to be fair, Viscera was rude first. She does blatantly interrupt this bear as soon as she starts speaking. Yeah, I wonder about that a lot too, because like they gotta sell them if they have them in stock. It has to, people have to buy them fairly frequently. Bear Lady calls a locksmith and develops a new empathy for locksmiths. Oh, looks weird without her nose. Theoretically, retail workers, like if we were going on the discourse, retail workers would not be completely unempathetic towards like people poor enough to be homeless. But in my experience, that is not really how it plays out at all. A lot of them are, especially retail workers in places where homeless people tend to kind of go, they do not like having them in the store at all, no matter what they do. There are some nice ones though, which would be obvious later in the comic. I just don't like how this nose is turning out. I'll just redo it. Just currently lacking a little bit on the face somewhere. I can't tell where though. It's just not obvious to me. Might just be because the face is so long in this expression. Basically, this is a comic where everyone is rude to everyone else. I don't think her shirt collar would be down quite that low. And I feel like I want to move her over a little bit. There was an opportunity to have this worker ask if those were her pants, and I decided not to because I feel like she wouldn't give a shit if those were her pants or not. Like, if she was stealing them. And I just have the background, and that should be it. I know already deep in my bones these carts are gonna kill me, and I have to actually color them. That's fur, so that doesn't need to be. Oh my god. Yeah. I feel like there is an opportunity to have her asked about the pants later. Because there is a pettier employee that she deals with. He is probably going to be in 2 pages. She spends a bit of time, unless I decide to scrap that bit, but I think I won't. Just because I can't compromise on anything ever. But I think this page is done, otherwise. Oh, actually, I gotta put the "how can I help you" on her, the back of her vest. And then it's over. Okay, that is about it, and I will line this off stream eventually and probably do the coloring portion tomorrow or on Saturday or Friday. I don't have a concept of time, just like Viscera. So that's it. Thank you everybody who stopped by. And have a nice night.